Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode in my Football Manager series. This is episode number 17, and today we are returning with a brand new season as our third year at Carrow Road gets underway as we resume life back in the Premier League. Today we'll see what happened in pre-season, the first game of the campaign away against Watford, and of course the transfer special as well. Let's get to that first. And this was, without question, the most expensive window to save by quite some distance. And you know the saying, don't talk about spend, talk about net spend. That's no longer appropriate, at least not in this window. But yeah, we'll start with the departures. As you can see, a few loan deals here, the most noteworthy one being Grant Hanley, who was, of course, formerly club captain. He has now gone to Hibernian in his native Scotland on a 1-year loan deal. I think we get 240 grand for the year for his time there, and also they're paying his wage as well. We've got enough depth in the CB area now. Hanley rarely gets a game. And also a few players left on free transfers as well. The most noteworthy one, of course, being who became club captain last season. Oh, Gelson Fernandes. Yeah, Gelson unfortunately left on a free transfer. You guys know about that one, of course. But yeah, he's officially gone to BSC Young Boys. And it was a sad day when I looked around on the training pitch and realised he's no longer with us. Can't blame him for wanting to go home to Switzerland. But who knows, maybe he'll come back one day in a coaching role. But yeah, as for permanent sales, there were a couple of noteworthy ones. We saw Lucas Rupp go to Huddersfield for £4 million. 30-year-old German, out on loan last season at Bournemouth, not good enough for the Premier League, so totally fine to get his salary off the books. Marco Stiepermann also left for £4.1 million to Bristol City, so he remains in the Championship at Ashton Gate. Played for us in the first season quite a lot. Last season lost his place to Eze when he came in though, and no longer really a first team member here. And the other noteworthy sale was Onel Hernandez, our Cuban winger, who of course scored that cracker on the final day. He's gone to Cardiff City. Now I believe the fee was £8 million. Yeah, £8 million with clauses. Could rise to 9.25 mil, although I doubt we'll see the extra 1.25 mil as he needs to play 50 games there for Cardiff. So Hernandez, Stiepermann, Rupp all gone. Hanley's out on loan, and Fernandes left on a free transfer as well. So quite a few departures from the club, and not much money raised in total. Just £17 million coming in for these players that left the club. But the most important thing to me was we kept the core of the players here. Aarons, Lewis, Godfrey, Buendia, etc., etc., etc. They are all still here at the club, which was the most important thing for me. If you want to be sort of like coy about it, the most important signings to me in this window were contract extensions. Signing contract extensions. But regardless, as for new signings for the club, there were 5 in total. I'm going to reveal them one by one from least interesting to most interesting. So yeah, let's get to it. Here are the signings for Norwich City this season. Also, coy? Being coy about it? That's not right, is it? My vocabulary, man, absolutely atrocious. But anyway, first of 5 signings is a return for this man. Yes, he's back on another 1-year loan spell. It's Ryan Brewster from Liverpool, who was here last year at Carrow Road on a 1-year loan deal, but didn't really play for much last season. I'll be honest, 20 games in the Championship, but as you can see, only 3 of those were starts. He scored the 1 goal, bagged 2 assists, and 1 goal in the cup as well in 4 games too. But really didn't play much. He was 4th choice striker behind Ida, who of course won the Golden Boot in the Championship last year. Ludwig Ajorque, the big French striker, and actually to be fair, he probably got a bit more game time than Timu Pukki. So I'd say he was probably 3rd choice striker last year. But even so, didn't play that many games. Regardless, he's back on a 1-year loan spell, and again, it's mainly just to provide cover in this team. Don't expect him to start that many games, but he has got some really nice stats, and again, if he does get game time, I think he probably will score quite a few goals. And if Ida struggles to adapt in the Premier League, I'm not against going with Ryan Brewster. So yeah, Brewster back on another 1-year loan deal. Let's see if he does something a little bit more noteworthy this season. And next up is a classic Docks veteran dressing room leader who we signed to Norwich City here, and I'm so happy to have this guy in. It is Lucas Fabianski, who becomes our new backup goalkeeper for the season, as Thomas Kraft, who is still here right now, is actually on the verge of leaving the club I think he's going to Vancouver Whitecaps, I think it is. But anyway, Fabianski's in, and he was part of the Sheffield United side that got relegated last season in the Premier League. He came in January from West Ham, where he was starting in the Championship there, made the move back up to the Premier League, and sadly suffered 2 successive relegations. Let's hope it doesn't become 3 in a row here at Norwich. But he signed for 1.5 mil, so very cheap transfer fee, and as you can see here, his contract is pretty pricey for a 36-year-old. £40,000 pounds a week to bring him in. However, Fabianski is a goalkeeper that's played in this league for well over a decade and knows the country inside out. Of course, Polish international, former Polish number one, and despite being 36 years old, his stats are absolutely superb. Mentally, very, very, very nice stats to look at here, as you like to see on our veteran dressing room leaders. And he's got 15 positioning, 16 one-on-ones, 17 reflexes, so a lovely trio there, and some other really good goalkeeping stats too. And in fact, as you might have noticed there, he's actually apparently regarded as better than Farines. Farines will remain as our number one, but as a backup goalkeeper, I've got a lot more faith in him than in Thomas Kraft. So Fabianski in dressing room leader, veteran presence, and he knows this league inside out. But again, after those successive relegations there, 4 years. Yeah, let's hope it's not another one here at Carrow Road. So moving on to our third of 5 signings, and I've got to say this is probably the flashiest signing of the lot. Yes, Xherdan Shaqiri has arrived at Carrow Road from Leicester City on a 1-year loan deal. And Shaqiri, as we know, fabulous player on his day. But that's always been the problem with Shaqiri, him being on his day and being consistent as well. And Xherdan, of course, has had such an interesting career path as well. He started his career, of course, in his home country of Switzerland at Basel, where he showed so much potential and promise to become a world-class player. And when he joined Bayern Munich for 9.5 mil, it seemed like the world was going to be his oyster, but he was just never able to settle, Shaqiri. He spent 3 years at the Allianz, then he went to Inter Milan for 2 years. Then he went to Stoke City for free, and then after they got relegated, he joined Liverpool for 13.5 mil, and he just never seemed to find a home anywhere. Last season, he went to Leicester City for 15.5 mil, but look at the red flags that come up here when we take a look at his last season with Leicester City. 15.5 mil to King Power, but he only played 9 games, all coming from the bench, and just a single cup appearance as well. Wasn't due to injuries, they just didn't seem to want to play him. So yeah, alarm bells ringing, red flags flashing, but despite that being the case, I decided to give him a 1-year loan deal. Now, we're not paying a monthly fee, we are just paying his contract, which is £70,000 a week, which, to be fair, is very expensive, and there is an optional future fee of 13.75 mil, but either way, there is an optional future fee if we want to match it come the end of the season, but I don't think I'll be doing that. I'll be turning 30 in a couple of months' time. Where has the time gone? He's not the quickest, but great agility and great balance. Mentally, again, some really nice stats here. 17 flair, as we know, he's got a touch for the unexpected, 16 off the ball, lovely movement, and 16 vision as well. And technically too, this guy's got great technical ability. 16 crossing, 14 dribbling, 16 first touch, 14 long shots. He can strike them from range with 15 passing and 15 technique as well. You know, again, his stats show a really good player here. Some really nice traits on the guy as well. But again, Shaqiri's problem has been throughout his career, as we all know, being consistently good. You know, occasionally it'll show some promise and some world-class ability that, of course, he could have had, you know, back in the old days at Basel. But consistency has always been a problem with Shaqiri. He has actually scored one of my favourite Premier League goals ever, though. That was against Everton when playing for Stoke many years ago now. And it was a chip. Was it Everton? I think it was Everton. It was a chip over the goalkeeper first time. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Wonderful goal. But again, Shaqiri's biggest problem, despite all of the fantastic attributes he's got, has been, can he do it on a consistent basis? Well, hopefully he'll be able to here at Carrow Road. And who knows, maybe he can have a home here finally in his final few years in professional football. But Shaqiri is in, and hopefully he does pretty well this season on a 1-year loan, but I think that's all it will be, just a 1-year loan. I can't imagine he'll perform as well where we pick up the optional future fee, but you never know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Exciting player, and let's see what he does. And so there are just the 2 signings remaining, and they were the first 2 signings I made in the window, and these are the 2 players that cost a combined total of £62 million. Both of them are the most expensive and second most expensive signings in Norwich City Football Club history. The question is, which one am I going to show you first? I think we'll go with, hopefully, the answer to our defensive problems here at Carrow Road. Yes, it's a new centre-back. He's a very tall lad, and it's Filip Benkovic, who is joined for an absolutely massive transfer fee of £30 million. Yes, a huge fee to bring this guy to Carrow Road, but my hope is that still at such a very young age, he's going to develop here and become a world-class centre-half like he can do in FM. Now, he's 24 years old. He only turned 24 last month, so he's still pretty young, relatively speaking, in football. And his stats are absolutely fantastic. Now, as we know, he's a really tall player. He's 6'4" with 18 jumping. So when you think about the problems we've had with Norwich City, especially last season, leaking so many goals and many coming from set pieces, this is the reason I opted to spend so much money on Benkovic, because he's tall, he's strong with 15 strength, and again, 18 jumping. We conceded so many goals from crosses and set pieces last season. I'm hoping he's going to organise our back line and be the aerial presence we need when defending set pieces. Mentally as well, really, really good. Very good all across the board here with 15 determination and 14 positioning, 14 teamwork and 13 work rating. Technically too, 16 heading, 15 marking and 15 tackling, the magic trio there on a centre-back. And with first touch 12 and passing 12 as well, he can play out from the back if need be too. So fantastic stats. Again, really tall, really strong, really physical type of player. It's a 75 grand a week contract, 5-year deal, incredibly pricey. But if this is the price we've got to pay to defend better, and particularly from set pieces, then I'll pay 40 million for him. I just want to see us stop leaking so many silly goals from set pieces like we did last season, and hopefully Benkovic will be the answer to all our problems. He might never have developed at Leicester after 2 loan spells at Celtic and Ashton Gate as well. However, he's in for 30 million. He could have a home here at Carrow Road, and hopefully he'll be the organiser in our back line that we've been so sorely lacking. Philippe Benkovic in, a lot of money, but again, hopefully it'll prove to be worth every penny. And the final signing of the lot is one that I literally cannot believe I managed to pull off. When I tell you there was interest from RB Leipzig and interest from Juventus, you'll be wondering why the fuck he didn't hold out for a bid from one of those clubs and decided to come here. And even I was wondering that as well. When he agreed terms here, I was absolutely shocked he didn't wait for a bid for one of those 2 big boys. He was part of the Sheffield United side that got relegated last season. I did briefly show him in the last episode as well, and I said he was going to be one of my main targets for this season. Welcome to Carrow Road. Sander Berger. What a signing. Absolutely incredible coup we've pulled off here at Carrow Road. Yes, the Norwegian midfielder has signed for a new club record transfer fee of £32 million. Having said that, he was my number 1 target for the new season, and I can't tell you how happy I am to have him here. Now, of course, he played for KRC Genk for 4 years when he signed for 2.2 mil from his native Norway, and then moved on to Sheffield United for £22 million during the 2019-2020 season in real life, but of course in the game would officially start the season as a Sheffield United player. 2 years there at Bramwell Lane, but last season, despite playing very well, getting 5 goals and 7 assists in 37 games, he was part of the side that got relegated. Of course, Sheffield United weren't going to be able to keep hold of him in the Championship. Again, there was interest from Juventus, there was interest from RB Leipzig, but I put a bid straight away in for Sander, and he decided to put pen to paper here. When you take a look at his contract, you can probably see why. It is a very expensive contract, there's no doubt about that. It's a 5-year deal, which I'm very happy about, but £80,000 a week. We are breaking the bank to pay this guy's wages, but I hope, and I'm sure he will prove to be worth every single penny. Now, he does have 2 release clauses here, a relegation release clause of 35 mil and a minimum fee release clause for clubs in the Champions League of £90 million. I would not be surprised to see that get met during some point in the 5 years he'll be spending at Carrow Road, because he's more than good enough to be playing Champions League football, in my opinion. He's got some absolutely fantastic stats, and he is the perfect player to come in and replace fans' favourite, media's favourite, Tom Tribal. Now, Sander, as we know, very physical player. He's 6'3", so he's very tall, so you can see what I've been going for in this transfer window with the signing of him and Benkovic for aerial presence. And again, physically, he's fantastic all across the board. Physically, he's really good. He's quick, he's got great balance, fantastic stamina as well with 16 too. His physical physical stats really are superb and very well balanced there. Mentally too, brilliant stats all across the board here. There's not a single negative in any of these stats here. Really, really good. And in the technical stats as well, 12 dribbling, 14 first touch, 14 passing, 15 technique. Again, there's no negative to this guy. There is absolutely no negative at all. All across the board, he's absolutely fantastic. Some very nice PPMs here as well. The dictate tempo trait, I love that one there. And some really, really nice stats. And again, it's just 20... Again, this is what the thing... He's just 23 years old, Sander. 23 years old. He won't turn 24 until February. He's got lots of room to get even better than he currently is right now. And again, that's why I would not be surprised at some point when he starts developing that a big club will come in and meet that £90 million release clause. And when that happens, we will be rich. But yeah, some fantastic stats regardless. He was my number one target for the window, and I can't believe we pulled it off. I thought for sure he was going to wait for Juventus or RB Leipzig to put a bid in. Instead, he decided to come here to Carrow Road, and this is an absolutely extraordinary coup. Sander Berge is in, and again, his stats are just absolutely unreal. So yeah, what an expensive window for Norwich City in the end. We raised £17 million for a few little sales here, but the big signings, as you can see, in Sander and Philippe cost us £62 million. When you include Fabianski as well, it's about £64 million in total. So, you know, okay, last season and in season 1, I could say don't talk about spend, talk about net spend. I can't do that this season. Look at that. That's ridiculous. We broke the bank in this transfer window and spent every single penny in bringing these 5 new signings in. When you take a look at the calibre of players here, all are really good. And again, Sander and Benkovic, in particular the former, are absolutely fantastic players to have here at Carrow Road. I'm looking for Premier League quality and players that will keep us in the top flight. And I believe these 5 new signings, combined with the players we already have, will be able to do that. Expensive window, but hopefully it will prove to be worth it. And that's why when you take a look at the finances screen here, this is not a very good sight to see. Yes, our bank balance has been declining significantly since the summer of last season. We are now down to £47 million in our bank balance, and we're just £2 million remaining in our transfer budget. Don't expect any more signings now. But yeah, we've never had more expenditure than ever before here at Norwich City Football Club. And again, the main reason why is due to the wages. We have put players on very expensive contracts, as you would have seen. I mean, Fabianski, for example, was on 40 grand a week. Shaqiri on 70 grand a week. Obviously, Benkovic on 75. Sandé's on 80 grand a week. Never spent more money on player wages. You know, it's actually not that much more than during our season when we got relegated from the Premier League, but it is still more regardless. And for a club of Norwich's stature, it shouldn't really be this high, but it is because I said before, I am struggling to get good value for money deals on contracts in this year's Football Manager. Don't know why, but regardless, we are spending an awful lot of money, and this is why staying in the Premier League this season is vital, because we need that TV revenue to make up for the very expensive wages we are giving out to our players. So yeah, lots of money getting spent this season. And speaking real briefly of contracts too, I mentioned it briefly before we went into the signings to today's episode. I did decide to give new contracts to my players. You saw Max Aarons get a new deal in the last episode, a new 5-year extension for our right back. I posted this on Twitter. Jamal Lewis has also signed a new 4-year extension as well. So our 2 fullbacks have signed new long-term deals. And Ben Godfrey also signed a new 5-year deal as well. So 3 pricey contracts for those 3 players there, but of course they're all homegrown players, which is nice to see. And also Dembele did sign a new contract as well. He's now here on a 5-year deal, £40,000 a week. So 4 contract extensions given for 4 very important young British players. However, for Buendia, as you can see, this guy just refuses to negotiate. He's only on 12.25 grand a week. I want to give him a new contract, but he's not interested in entering contract negotiations. He's currently unhappy at the club, and I think we're just delaying the inevitable. I keep on saying it. We hold all the chips. We hold all the cards. There's no reason to cash in on Buendia, but we probably will need to cash in sooner rather than later, because after this season, he'll only have 2 years left on his deal. There's still major interest from big clubs. I think we probably will be seeing Buendia playing his last season for the club this year, unless that interest goes away. He's still here, but for how much longer? And as we take a look at the dynamics of the club, as you can see, there are a few issues here. Although Oliveira takes, I think it's 5 issues, 4 issues there. And Thomas Kraft is, of course, about to be leaving as well. Ida wants a new deal, but he's got like 3 years left on his contract. So whilst he's only on £1,000 a week, he probably will get a new deal soon, but it just seems a bit pointless to give him a new contract right now. And Buendia, of course, he's always got an issue with me there as well. Having said that, the dressing room atmosphere is excellent. The managerial support is excellent, and the team cohesion is good as well. You can see our hierarchy for this season after losing Fernandes and Hanley has changed quite a bit. Harrison Reed has already become a team leader after just 1 year. I really like to see that. Buendia is up there, as is Timu Pukki as well. And again, Godfrey is our new club captain, and Holding has taken the vice captaincy as well, because I do like him, to be fair, and I think he deserves it. And as for the social groups, we've got 2 splits here, so better than last season, about an even number in the core and in the secondary as well. And when you take a look at the squad depth for this season in the team report, I personally believe it has got better than last season. I know we've sold Rupp, I know we've sold Steepman, I know we've sold Hernandez, but personally speaking, I think every single year since the save began, we've gotten slightly better as a team. We're making very slight but gradual progression in terms of our team quality every single season. Is the team good enough to stay in the Premier League though? That is of course the big question that we'll find out come the end of the season. Quite a lot of negatives as well in our team report as well, so hopefully we'll see a few of these get eradicated as the seasons go by. But as for the pre-season as well, I want to show you that real briefly before we dive into the first game away against Watford. As you can see, it was largely successful. We had 3 losses but won every single other game, including losing our Carrow Road Cup, first in the semi-final and then in the 3rd place playoff as well. But we did, of course, have the annual get the testosterone flowing game where we beat Norwich United by 10-0. But one thing I do want to show you as well is the fixture list for this season in the Premier League. Look at our final fixtures this season. We wrap up the season away at Old Trafford against Manchester United, and in April as well, we got Spurs away, Liverpool away, and Arsenal at home in 3 of our 5 fixtures in the Premier League. 3 of our final games, 4 of our final 8 games, I think it is, or 7 games even in the Premier League are against Spurs, Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester United as well. We've got a really tough run to end the season off. So if we're scrambling for points down the bottom of the table like we were in season 1, we're going to be in trouble. I can't see us picking up many points in these games here. So that is a really tough end to the season for Norwich City. And in terms of our competition expectations from the board this season, well, they're a bit tougher than they were in season 1 in our first year in the Premier League. Now in the Cups, we've got to reach the 4th round of the Carabao Cup and the 5th round of the FA Cup. But as I said back in season 1, I don't really care what happens in these competitions. Even though the board might care, I don't. Because the only thing that matters to me is staying in the Premier League, where as you can see this season, it's different to season 1. Now the board expect us to avoid relegation this season. If you remember back in season 1, the expectation was to attempt to avoid relegation. That's why when we were relegated back in the first season, I wasn't that surprised that I managed to keep my job, because the board just wanted us to fight bravely against relegation, which to be fair, we did, only going down on the final game of the season. But this season it's different. We have to avoid relegation. So unlike in season 1, if we are to get relegated this season, I'll be sacked, and I don't think there's any denying that. You know, in season 1, I was able to get away with it due to the board expectation. They expected us to go down. This season, they expect us to avoid relegation. So yeah, go down this season, and I think that'll probably be the end of me as Norwich City manager. But you know, the question is, are we good enough to stay in this Premier League? In terms of the season preview, the media say yes. The media think we're going to finish in 16th place this season, but that is, of course, going to be easier said than done. I think there are other teams that are worse than us in the Premier League, but I still think it's going to be very tough for us to survive in the Premier League. But we'll need to do that if I'm to keep my job. So, yeah, let's just dive into it. Let's get to the first game, and the only game in today's episode. We are away against Watford at Vicarage Road in already what could be a relegation 6-pointer, because we got bad blood against these boys, because these are the guys that pipped us to safety on the final day back in season 1. So it's fitting, of course, we will meet on Monday night in our first game back in the Premier Premier League. So heading into the game, we're going to play our 4-2-3-1 as we often do in the control possession style of play. We do have some problems to start the campaign off in terms of injuries. As you can see, Harrison Reed is injured. He's got some pulled knee ligaments and he's currently out. Xherdan Shaqiri is also out with a pulled back muscle, and Timu Puki is out with a groin strain as well. Louis Thompson suspended for the game. Tribal and Buendia aren't fully fit for the game either. And you might notice as well in our team right now, Jack Wilshere is here on trial. He's been on trial all over the summer, and I'm not sure if I'm going to give him a deal or not. I wouldn't be against it. We've actually got more depth in the CM area than ever before, so we don't really need him. Although we did have a really good season last year, playing away in Portugal on loan from West Ham. So I might give him a contract. I'm not entirely sure. It feels like it'd be a bit of a waste of wages, really, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But so this will be our team now. We've got Farinas in goal, a back four of Lewis, Benkovic making his debut, Godfrey and Max Aarons, with Sander also making his debut, and Ben Thompson starting ball in midfield as well. Third forward, Ize's on left, Dembele's on the right, and Buendia does support the Championship Golden Boot winner, Adam Ida. And on the bench, Fabianski, Holding, Bushiri, Byram, Tribal, Cantwell, and Ajorque as well. So first game, it's Watford away. Bad blood between these two teams, and a big game so early on in the campaign. Come on, you Canaries. It's kind of ironic that we've got more depth in the CM position than anywhere else on the pitch. Yet right now we need central midfielders, with Buendia not being fully fit, Tribal not being fully fit, Reed is out with the injury as well. But anyway, first title's going to come to the Hornets, and oh my god, if the first goal of the season would have been a set piece after what I was talking about, bringing in Benkovic and Sander as physically strong, tall players, I would have torn my bloody hair out. Still 0-0, but what is it about this Norwich team and defending set pieces? And we have not made a good start to this game at all, as Montiel, the Argentine right back, plays back to Sarr. In comes the cross, Suarez, a shot blocked, and the follow-up attempt by Sarr pushed away by Farinas. Interesting fact on Farinas, West Brom met 2 release clauses for him, which were £20 million, but he turned down moves to the Hawthorns to stay here instead. So he clearly wants to stay here at Carrow Road. He's got the ability to be playing at a better club, but he's staying here for now. Big stop there, still 0-0. There was also interest from Spurs for Farinas as well, but again, he decided to stay here. And I'm very happy to have him here as well, because whilst he's not exactly developed too well since we signed him, he is still really good and still a very young goalkeeper as well. So second half underway, still 0-0. I think I'd take this on the opening day. Oh, Sander, that's a lovely ball out wide towards Dembele, who stepped inside. Oh, why did he do that? I swear this is a common problem in football management, has been for quite a few years now. They always seem to shoot from really tight angles. You're never going to squeeze it in from there, Karamoko. Easy save by Pacheco in the end, and a great chance wasted. Our first of the game, straight at the goalkeeper from a very tight angle. Starting to grow in confidence though, which is nice to see, as Sander plays a lovely ball out wide towards Dembele. Oh, Karamoko. Oh! He's coming alive, the young man. Well, I think that he's probably going to do it. Some encouraging signs in the second half after a poor first 45 minutes. But do you know what? I'll take that. Our first game back in the Premier League, and it's a 0-0 draw. Not the most exciting, but I'll take it. A clean sheet, and Benkovic getting a 7.1 on his debut as well. That is what I want to see. Defensive stability, and we certainly showed it here. First game back in the Premier League after leaking so many goals in the Championship, and it's a 0-0 draw away from home. I will definitely take that. No doubt about it. Might not be the most exciting of games to start off with, but I'll take it. Point, clean sheet, I'll definitely take that. But that was today's episode of the Football Manager series, guys. So a big thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy today's episode, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon. Well, let's come back in October, shall we? With a couple of big games at home to Brighton and Hove Albion, and away on the south coast against Southampton as well. So we'll gather some pace and come back for a double header there at the start of October. Have a great day, guys. Much love, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.